Welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode number 554. We have got a lot to cover today, but we will get into your questions shortly, answering anything you have about local SEO, agency running, or just about anything if you ask really nicely. But we'll get into that in a minute. We want to say hi to the guys, and then we'll get into it. So, Chris, how are you doing today?
Doing good, feeling strong, hit the gym as usual.
Nice.
Other than that, yeah, cooking in the labs and working on a couple things. So, yeah, that's about it.
Very nice. Yeah, speaking of, I was directing a trail race this weekend and I run, but I do not run as fast as the people that won the trail race. It was cool to see those guys and ladies. We had a woman take first place in the 25K out of everybody. She just demolished course record, and it's really cool to see those people running at a really high level. So a little different than the gym, but same idea. Getting out there and improving themselves is cool to see. So, Bradley, how about you? How are you doing, man?
I'm good. Super busy, but good nonetheless. And things are good. Working on DHA phase one started this week. Started on Monday. The next group of phase one. So that's going well. And I've been working on. We've got this webinar coming up next week with Rob that we're going to be promoting that tool, Content Maximo. I just finished the local SEO. That's local SEO insights video series for this week, where I just demoed that tool that we're going to be promoting next week, which is freaking amazing in my opinion. It is. I mean, look, guys, we don't typically do affiliate promotions that often. Not a whole lot of them. We only do them when it's something we specifically use or it's something that we can really get behind and endorse. And this tool is amazing. I hate to use the term game changer, but it really is a powerful tool that uses a different kind of methodology for not just people might think of it as a keyword tool, but it's not. It is a marketing tool, and keyword research is part of it. And it's kind of keyword or and topic or entity research at the beginning, but then the kind of additional functionality of the tool is for marketing and developing content for specific buyer personas and specific stages of the buying cycle. And it's incredibly powerful. I mean, it's probably the most powerful tool I have seen that does something like this. No kidding. I'm just floored with how amazing it is because it's revealed so many opportunities for me for marketing purposes for tree contractors, like how to get tree contractors better results and more business. And so, anyway, I just finished the video like right before Hump Day Hangouts, actually. So it'll be uploaded within the next 24 hours to our YouTube channel. You guys can go watch it, where I give basically a rundown. It's about a 25-minute video where I'm going through how I see this tool as such a valuable tool, why I think it's so valuable, and how I plan on using it. And that's just kind of whet your appetite, tease you a little bit to get you guys excited for the webinar next week. So I'd encourage you guys to check that out and get registered for the webinar next week. It is an amazing tool. I really mean that. That is not hyperbole. And so I'd encourage you guys to check it out. And besides that, it's from um, a colleague of ours, Rob Beal, who's been kind of in our orbit and was a JV partner of ours for many years previously. And then we kind of reconnected in the last couple of months. And Rob's a really good dude, and I'm happy to promote the tool for him, especially because it's so advanced. So check it out, guys.
Awesome. I wanted to say real quick, if you are new to Semantic Mastery, you can pick up the SEO toolkit at semanticmastery.com/toolkit. That's a nice little compilation of some of our free tools. And also, if you haven't heard about it, we also have the Local Mastery newsletter, where we're cramming in 5 to 7 actionable local SEO insights each week with some action items for each week. That's a paid newsletter. That's something you can take in under 30 minutes and put things to work every single week. And that's at localmastery.semanticmastery.com. And last but not least, occasionally we get asked from people speaking like Bradley was about services. We get asked about, somebody, sometimes people will be like, "Hey, the mastermind's great. Can you just do this for me?" Or, do you guys offer done for you services, things like that. So what we wanted to do was take a little bit of time. And Bradley, if you can, as we talked about, tell people a little bit about some of the semantic SEO services and kind of what's going on with that. Because one, we want people who are watching now to understand it, but also we want to be able to share this with people in a way that, hey, here's what we have, here's what it can do for you, and choose what you need. And this is truly meant for white label services. So with that, I'll just kind of back up, and Bradley, you can take it from here, and then I guess we can just go into questions after you're done.
Okay. Well, then I appreciate that, Adam. Thank you. So I'll go ahead and grab the screen then as I narrate through this briefly. But guys, we have we have white label agencies. I have Semantic Links, which is a link building agency only. It's an off-page white label service. We do provide SEO consulting, and on-page analysis and recommendations through our full SEO audit service, et cetera. But it is an off-page service. We are doing link building. We also have Semantic SEO, which is our white label services that is more full service in that we will do on-page optimization for the GBP. We will not do on-page optimization for other people's self-hosted sites. We just won't do it. I don't want access to other people's sites. We will still do analyses and audits and provide recommendations and suggestions, et cetera, that then the webmaster team, whoever is managing the website, or you, whatever, can update the site based upon the recommendations. But we will do Google Business Profile optimization and manage the GBP. We'll do link building, content marketing. The content marketing that we will do for the Semantic SEO services, which again is the more full service white label agency services. The content that we produce, we publish content on external blogs, branded blogs, which we create as part of the campaigns that we produce for, or that we manage for Semantic SEO clients. So let me grab the screen and I'll kind of jump into this, and I'll kind of talk through this a little bit first, and then we'll get into normal questions. Okay. So I'm going to start with just this one page, and then I'll come back and we'll open it up for the questions in a minute. But we have the reason why we're bringing this up is because we are going to be expanding our team at Semantic SEO, and starting to prepare for increased, like an influx of new agencies, et cetera, because I've really focused in on growing Semantic Links for the last 3 years now. But Semantic SEO is going to be really the fulfillment service that the DHA program members most of them will be using, at least initially, until they really dial in their marketing and sales process. And then once they do that, if they want to bring the fulfillment services in-house, I'll provide the SOPs for all of the services that we provide at Semantic SEO. Like, in other words, for the DHA program members, I encourage them to not try to do the fulfillment, right? Learn the system of marketing and sales, which is what this is really developed for, to help you to improve your marketing, generate more leads consistently for your own agency, and then how to sell them. And then the services that you sell them, I'm recommending that you allow us to fulfill initially while you're working on dialing in your offers and your sales presentation, right? Because if you, like most SEOs that I know, local SEOs that we've coached, they go into this kind of feast or famine cycle. It's like this never-ending treadmill where it's always peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. What I mean by that is, when a local SEO, right, they want to generate some new business for their own, for themselves. So they'll fire up a prospecting campaign, right? And they'll start doing whatever prospecting methods they're doing, whether it's cold ads, or cold email, or social media, or whatever it may be. But once they start getting leads coming in, they'll work those leads, right? Try to get on sales calls, all that kind of stuff. And then hopefully they'll close a sale or two or whatever. And then once they've gotten a few sales, they stop prospecting and go right into fulfillment mode. But the problem with that is there's that inertia that occurs when you have to start up a prospecting campaign. It takes a little while for it to gain traction. Then you get leads coming in, then you work those leads, then you stop the prospecting so you can go into fulfillment. You got to work on the first, you guys know a lot of SEO stuff is front end heavy, right? It's front end. We do a lot of heavy lifting up front, right? We do a bulk of the work up front to get them results. And then once we've got them performing well in search, then we can kind of take our foot off the gas a little bit, go on the coast, so to speak. And then it's a matter, to maintain the campaign. So we put a lot of additional work in the kind of startup of a new campaign. And then once we can ease off of it a bit because it's performing well, then that's when we want to start generating more business again, right? And so we see this feast and famine cycle all the time. And I used to be 100% guilty of that myself. But what I found was that, if you focus in on marketing and sales to where you constantly have your pipeline full of leads, and you're constantly pitching services, making new sales, or attempting to make new sales, it does a number of things for your business. Number one, it allows you to only choose to work with those prospects that seem like it's a really good fit. Like there's good communication. You just clicked when you had your sales conversation. There's good rapport, right? All that kind of stuff. Guys, how many times have any of you that are offering done for you, or SEO services for local businesses, how many times have you closed a client when you knew it wasn't a good fit, but you needed the money, right? You were on a sales call, or the communication in email or however you were communicating was a bit strained, and you knew that it was likely going to be trouble, but you needed the money and you closed the job, you closed the sale anyways. I've done that so many times I can't even count it, because greed took over instead of my gut instinct of, hey, I should walk away from this one. And every time I've done that, it's burned me, right? Because it's ended up being a very challenging engagement, right? That requires a lot more attention, energy, and therefore increases levels of stress. And eventually it ends up falling apart anyways. And I always regret ever taking that client on to begin with, because I knew it was likely going to be trouble, right? And so when you are desperate for revenue, it's a lot more likely that you will bend to that, right? You'll allow that to happen because you need the revenue. And I understand that. But instead of doing that, why not focus your attention and energy instead on keeping your pipeline full of leads, so that you have a lot more sales opportunities, so that you can walk away from those that you know is going, or have that gut, feeling, that instinct that it's likely going to be a challenging engagement. Well, then walk away from that, right? Deny that. Do not close that contact, and instead focus in on those others that appear to be a lot easier. That's also part of the reason why I teach looking for low competition areas too, because it reduces the stress level. If you're going to be marketing your services to try to acquire new clients, why not try to acquire new clients in low competition areas, so that your stress levels are a hell of a lot lower? It becomes easier to get results for the client faster. It makes it easier for you to and generate more revenue, because you can make it up for in volume, which you maybe in the actual campaign, because it's not as competitive, you don't charge as much. But who cares? If it's easier, get it done, knock it out, and then go on to the next one, right? And so the point that I'm trying to make is, with what we're doing with the DHA program members, is I'm telling them, like, I want you guys to focus in on learning the marketing and sales side of selling local SEO services, or local marketing services, I should say, to whatever industry you've chosen. And it takes trial and error, practice, repetition, to really dial everything in, right? Get everything performing really well. Your messaging, your offers, your sales pitch itself, the presentation, like all of those things require trial and error. So it's in your best interest then to book as many sales calls as possible. Therefore, don't worry about fulfillment. If you have a white label provider, whether it's us or somebody else, I don't care. That's not the point. The point is, focus in on all of your attention and energy on revenue generating activities, which is marketing and sales, not the fulfillment. The fulfillment is how you keep the client, and and that's still important. But if you have a third party provider that can fulfill those services for you, then in my opinion, you're better off really focusing all of your attention on generating revenues, marketing and sales at first, until you have developed that or refined it into a process that is working really, really well, right? Consistently working well. And then at that point, if the agency then wants to bring the fulfillment services in-house, which will only increase their margins, but it also increases the complexity of the business, right? And the management responsibilities or requirements, all of that also increases, right? You increase your profitability, but you also increase the complexity of the business and the stress as well. But what I'm saying is, if you want to bring it in-house, by all means, that would be the time to do it after your sales process is dialed in, right? So then there's no more feast and famine. You always have leads coming in, so you've always got new revenue coming in. And you've got this now. You can bring the services in house to where now you can increase your profitability if you desire to. A lot of clients or agencies or SEO consultants, right, or marketing consultants, if they have a profitable business where they're not actually responsible for the fulfillment, why would you want to take on that complexity? Some people want to, and that's fine. I'll give you the SOPs, or DHA members anyways. We'll get the SOPs for it. But the point is then so why I'm talking about all of that, guys, is because we have white label services that we've developed specifically for the DHA program members. We've made them available to people outside of that as well, but we've not really promoted them much. And that's why Adam brought this up, is because we're ramping up our team, starting to train more, employees, et cetera, so that we can get them, we can bring on a lot more as we're going to be launching the phase 2 of DHA program in the next few weeks, sometime during this next phase 1 group, which the phase 1 group's a 12-week program, and it just started this week. Sometime during the next 12 weeks, we're going to be launching phase 2. Phase 2 is sales and fulfillment. It's a 6-week program. And that's where I'm going to be coaching any of the phase 1 graduates on how to sell local marketing services and how to fulfill, but not showing them how to do all this fulfillment. It's how to order and manage fulfillment through our white label services. Because again, I want people focusing on the sales part of things initially, right? And so I'm expecting a lot of new business to come into Semantic SEO, our white label service. And so because of that, we're starting to ramp it up. And we thought, well, hey, why not bring this to and kind of stress test the system a little bit by offering it and promoting it to our audience for Hump Day Hangouts, et cetera. And we're only going to bring a few people in at a time right now while I'm ramping up our team and increasing the size of our team and all of that so that we can have higher capacity. So I'm going to share this in the, or Adam, if you could grab that document. I shared it in Slack the other day with you, or yesterday with you. If you can grab that and drop that in the chat in YouTube. Guys, this is the Semantic SEO white label services, and I'm just going to give a quick rundown. Guys, this is not a pitch. It's just letting you guys know that it's available if you want to try our white label services. For any of you guys that are struggling to get results for clients, come check it out. We may be able to help you. So anyways, we have some one-off services like Google Business Profile on-page optimization, right? It's a $2.99 fulfillment fee. I recommend that you charge $4.99 or more. It says recommended retail price is $5.99, but because that's basically a roughly 100% markup. I recommend at bare minimum at least a 50% markup on any one of these services, pretty much. But oftentimes if you can double it, so you got 100% markup, you're better off. But you're depending on what industry you're in, you'll know what the threshold is. In my industry, in the tree service industry, most of my tree service contractors, even to this day, are still around the $1,000 a month mark on retainers. It's a lower retainer value industry because I work with smaller companies, like usually one crew operations. So they typically are going to be on the roughly $1,000 a month retainer level. I do have some contractor clients that are in either more competitive areas or they are servicing a much larger service area. And therefore, we charge them a higher price. Might be $1,500, might be $2,000 a month. Then there's also contractors that have, Google Ads and all that other kind of stuff. So some of them are spending a lot more, but my average and kind of standard retainer value is $1,000 a month, just to be clear. And you'll see that most of my tree service contractor clients underneath our subscription services fall into pretty much the low to medium competition or high competition subscription levels, which puts them around that $1,000 to $1,500 a month range, which is what I'm about to show you. But we have some one-off services like the Google Business Profile Optimization. Again, it's $2.99. You can charge whatever you want for it. The Brand Builder, which is a way to help boost branded location authority very, very quickly. This is one of the first things that I do for all new clients that I take on is Brand Builder, because most clients don't have a really strong branded presence in their local market. And so this is one of the ways that we can increase that branded presence very quickly for a very inexpensive price. And we can do it within about 28 days. Well, the turnaround time is 28 days. And a year and a half ago, we could guarantee results within 28 days. But now Google, because everything's slow to index, it takes a little bit longer. It's more like 6 weeks before we see the full results from it instead of 4 weeks. But that's not really anything we can do about it. That's an indexing, and that's a Google just being slow to crawl stuff thing. But anyways, again, $549 is our fulfillment price. We recommend charging a minimum of $9.99 on that. You can actually charge more for it too, just to be clear. Then we have our subscription service. That, by the way, those were both one-off services. Then we have our subscription services, which we have 3 different levels. We have a low to medium competition, high competition, and extreme competition. The difference between these are each one of these plans has the corresponding semantic links subscription associated with it, because that's how I have my semantic links subscription services separated out: low to medium competition, high competition, extreme competition. And those with the link building only, you can see the the prices are listed here, right? So each one of these campaign levels or subscription levels has its own corresponding semantic link subscription, right? And so what you're paying for with the on-page, with the full service as semantic SEO services is the on-page optimization and the content and the press releases, because we do the content marketing. But as I mentioned a moment ago or previously earlier, we don't do the content marketing on the money site because for two reasons. Number one, we don't want access to the client's website because we're a white label provider. If we have to get access to your client's websites and anything was to happen to the website during the time that we have access to it, guess who is going to get blamed? We would, no matter whether we had anything to do with it or not. If we have access to the site, guess who's going to get blamed? We are. That's precisely why I don't mess with people's self-hosted sites and get account logins and all that kind of stuff, because it adds way too much complexity and liability to my business. And so I don't do it. GBP manager, yes, we'll do that. Okay. So for that, like I said, what we do is we do the content, any kind of content marketing with long form authority articles, but we post them on branded blogs because part of what we do for our service is build branded blogs, right? So extensions of the brand on external sites, things like Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress, Weebly, Medium, G sites, Google sites, right? Sites.google.com. All of those then become blogs that we can use to publish branded content that will then build links back to the client site, as well as become link building targets in and of themselves, so that we can still produce results for the client without having to publish content on the main website, which would require access. And that also could potentially cause competing content, right? Redundancy. Because if you're publishing content targeting similar search queries that top level pages or pages on the site are optimized for, then that becomes competing pages, which will lower the performance of both the post and the top level page. So instead, if we publish that content on external blogs, we're now adding authority through topical authority, right, to the branded blogs, which makes them more effective and more powerful, more valuable. And then those also becomes link building content to build links back to the client site. And those become link building targets that we can be more aggressive with link building to, because they are external blogs. We can be more aggressive with link building to those than we have to directly to the money site. So the point is that we have the different levels, subscription levels include the corresponding link building campaign, which is just more links, right? Higher quantity of the same types of links for each of those three campaigns. But it also includes the on-page optimization, monthly citations, Google Business Posts, excuse me. I'm probably going to double the quantity of Google Business Posts for each of these campaigns. So instead of 4, it will be 8. Instead of 8, it'll be 16. And instead of 12, it'll be 24. And the reason I say that is because what we found is that if you're publishing 2 Google Business Posts per week per location that you manage, with one post always linking back to some page or post on the main website, and the second post per week always linking back to an external asset, one of those page URLs that have accurate information published about the business. So because of that, and because I always recommend publishing 2 posts per week, I think each one of these, we should be increasing that to where we can accommodate that type of volume. So those are likely going to be increased within the next week or two to double that. But then we have the content, and it's either going to be 1, 2, or 3 long form articles published, really well optimized, well-researched articles that are done very, very well with a human editor. Yes, it's AI developed. AI helps us develop content, but we have a human editor, Esther. She's been working with me for over 10 years, and she's amazing, and she does all that work, and then she publishes them onto the branded blogs, right? And again, we publish a different article on a different blog each time. Hopefully that's clear. And then we also include one press release. We have a standard distribution press release for the first 2 levels, and we have a premium press release distribution for the extreme competition level. All right. And all of that, typically, as long as the on-page optimization for the self-hosted site is done fairly well, which again, we provide consultation services where we can make recommendations on how to improve the optimization, the on-page optimization, so that when we do these things, the campaign will respond well to it. Do you understand? And so you can see what our fulfillment, our white label costs, our prices are, and then you can see what the recommended retail pricing is. Most of my tree service clients are on this right here, just to be clear. I've got a handful of them that are on this level here. I charge them $1,500 a month for that. Obviously, these are my white label fulfillment costs. That means that's what you guys would pay. My costs are actually a little bit lower than that because we do have some margin built into our white label pricing for us, obviously. We don't have much margin built in, to be honest with you. We really don't, because I did that intentionally. White label services, our margins are thin so that we can pass the savings off to you so that you can charge and keep, mark it up and have a healthy margin. We want you to have incentive to bring clients to us. So that's why I'm saying for this level, the recommended retail is $14.99 to $7, so $1,500 to $1,800 a month. But I provide this service to my contractor clients for $1,500 a month. I provide this service to my contractor clients for $9.99 a month, $1,000 a month, basically. Okay. So guys, just sharing that with you because I wanted you to understand, what we have is available. And we're going to be bringing on, just anybody who's interested in it, just go to you can go to semanticseo.pro if you want to check out the website, or you can go to dash.semanticseo.pro and just log in, just create an account. It's free to register for an account. You can log in and you can see the pricing and everything else and check it out. We're just putting this out there now. Like I said, if we get too many orders in, then I'll have to reach out to a few people and tell them, hey, we're going to put your order on hold for a week or two while we work through the first batch that came through or whatever. Because like I said, we're trying to ramp up our personnel a bit. So just be clear about that, guys. Like I said, we're not expecting a huge flood of leads, new business coming in, but we wanted to extend this to our audience to kind of help us stress test a little bit so that we can find where there are, where there's room for improvement in our operations and in our process for fulfilling these services. Okay. Right now, we've had a small enough amount of clients into this that I've got a small team that manages it quite well. But as we start to bring on more white label clients through the DHA program and making this available to a broader audience, I want to, like I said, there's always going to be a little bit of challenges with expanding the team. And so that's why I want to kind of do this in stages. And we thought, no better opportunity than to share this with our audience first, before we start really doing targeted outreach. Because just so you guys know, Semantic Links, I've spent the last 3 years doing cold email outreach. That's why I've been teaching about cold email for growing agencies now for several years, because that's how I've grown Tree Care HQ. That's how I've grown Semantic Links, exclusively through cold email. So we're going to be firing up a cold email campaign for Semantic SEO too, but not until we've got the team fully, like the new team members fully trained and everything else. So it's an opportunity for you guys. Check it out. If you have any questions or whatever, just reach out to us in a support ticket inside the Semantic SEO dashboard. So again, that's dash.semanticseo.pro if you want to go get signed up. And then if you have any questions, you can submit a support ticket via the Semantic SEO dashboard, and either myself or one of my support staff will reply back to you and answer any questions. And if it's needed, we can always schedule a call where you can jump on a call with me so I can answer any questions, find out about the campaign that you're considering submitting and everything else. I don't mind jumping on sales or on calls, guys, at all. I do it all the time. So it's perfectly fine. If you have questions, just reach out, let us know, and I'm happy to jump on a call with you. Okay. All right, guys, I'm sorry I spent so much time on that, but I think it was important. We're going to talk about that every week for the next few weeks, not maybe so much as lengthy as a presentation, but I'm definitely going to be bringing that up in the next couple of weeks as we ramp that up. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Bradley.
Yeah, man. All right. So I'm going to grab the questions. Fortunately, there's not a lot of questions. Anything I need to address, Adam, outside of that?
I think we're good.
Okay. Well, then here's the questions. Let's get into that. There's not a lot, so it's actually pretty good. All right, Casey was the first one to come up. He says, now this, I posted this. I left this one in because I don't remember answering these two last week. They might have come in after I had finished the webinar, so I left them. And if I already answered them, then forgive me for repeating it, but I don't remember it. So I'm bringing it up now. Casey Witcher says, do you have a suggested tool, plugin, or process you recommend to add schema to sites, particularly WordPress? Yeah. If you're talking about just like a plugin or a tool for inserting schema code into the site, I use Header Footer Code Manager Pro, HF Header Footer Code M Pro, HFM whatever Pro. It's this right here. It's a plugin. That's what you mean. Now, this plugin does not create schema. This just allows you to inject code, JavaScript, a number of things into various pages of the site. You can set rules, you can set filters, it's a really good, I use the Manager Pro version of it because it gives you a lot of functionality to inject different types of codes or scripts or whatever into various pages and different sections of the page too. So it gives you a lot of control. It's a code injection plugin basically that gives you a lot of control, but it doesn't produce schema, right? That's going to be up to you. Now, if you're talking about an app that can insert schema into a site automatically, the only one that I use is this one here. It's Inlinks. I'm going to put this in chat, but it's inlinks. It used to be net, but I think they updated it. It might still be inlinks.net. Now, see, now it's inlinks.com. It used to be inlinks.net. But Inlinks, now I only use this. Inlinks is an amazing tool. It's an amazing tool, okay? But they have a automated schema, kind of tool or function to it that will automatically insert web page schema or FAQ page schema. So I don't like to use this for like exclusively, like meaning this is not my only schema type that I use for sites, for client sites. But so in other words, for local business client sites, for tree service clients, what I do is I say manual schema, but I use another tool called schemawriter.ai. That's Jesper Nissen's tool. This tool is the tool that I use for creating organization schema for the homepage and local business schema for the location landing page. So I use this tool to create those two schema types: organization, local business. Organization goes on the homepage, which I insert through the header footer code manager plugin when it's a WordPress site. And then I produce local business schema for the location landing page, which is inserted into that page via this plugin as well. For all other pages on the site, though, service pages, location pages, right? Those are the other types of pages, and maybe posts if there was a blog. But my tree service contractor clients, if I build the site, it's in high level now. We don't have a blog. If we're going to create a blog, it's going to be on a subdomain, not on the main website, just to be clear. So for any other pages on the site, which are typically going to, in my industry, is going to be top level service pages and location pages, I use Inlinks because you just put a code of JavaScript in the HTML header. So again, you would use a plugin like this, or you could do it site-wide globally, insertion with just little JavaScript code. It's just a little line of code that you add into the HTML header of the site. And then inside Inlinks, you select which pages, you connect a domain, then you select which pages out of that domain you want Inlinks to insert schema into, and then you can modify the schema from within this dashboard. Like I said, I use kind of manually created and inserted schema for homepage and location landing page, but for all other pages on the site, I use this. That's how I'm able to scale across dozens and dozens of campaigns very quickly, because I don't have to go in and do manual schema across every page. This does it very quickly for the bulk of the pages on the site. And then I have templates that I use in Schema Writer AI that I've set up specifically for tree contractors that already references all the proper entities for knows about and things like that, so that it just makes it super easy. Well, it's still a little bit time consuming, but it's easier to develop the more advanced schema for organization and local business using this tool. Hopefully that's clear. All right, so Inlinks is great for automating schema for other pages, but for the primary, most important pages, I recommend doing it a little bit more manually. This is the tool that I use for that. And for injecting code, again, this is a great tool for that, for WordPress, I mean. All right, good question, moving on. Tom says, are you using VO Google DeepMind for your SEO? Do you plan to? What for? No, I haven't yet. My partner, Chris, a few minutes, or yesterday actually, just brought that up, mentioned something about Google VO and some stuff. I haven't had much time to play with that right now. So no, I have not yet. And I don't even have an idea of how I would use it yet, because I haven't played with it. So not yet. James says, if you're using your directory, TreeKHQ is both a directory and an agency, doesn't that get confusing? When people search for your brand, wouldn't you rather have your agency website show up instead of the directory? How do you explain that setup to people? No. I want the directory to show up, because the directory is the front, like the tip of the spear. It's the starting point of everything, the directory. We use the directory for cold outreach to initiate conversations with business owners in my industry, tree services, right? And so because of that, usually the first point of contact that they're ever going to have is through the directory. So, and remember, my whole approach, my whole process is built around not coming off as a marketing agency. It's coming off as a tech specialist with the directory. So that when I initiate that conversation, they're not immediately put off by the fact that they know where a pitch is coming, a sales pitch is coming. You understand? Now, look, I understand what you're saying, James. If a tree contractor already knows that they need marketing services and they're ready, willing, and able to purchase, to engage with an agency, and they're going to search for an agency, tree service marketing, tree service SEO, whatever, then yeah, I would want my agency to come up. But that is such a small percentage, a tiny fraction of a percentage compared to the amount of engagement that I can get through cold outreach and initiating conversations. So that's the difference between push and pull marketing, right? Pull marketing is where you create content and that attracts your ideal buyer, right? And that's what you're talking about, which, yeah, we all want to get to that goal, but until my Tree Care HQ brand is big enough to where we have a lot of contractors, the majority of our new leads coming in is from them seeking us out. Right now, it's the exact opposite. The majority of the leads that come into my agency are through push marketing, where we are, we're pushing our marketing out to hope to attract or snag. It's almost like fishing, right? Throwing a net out into the ocean or whatever and trying to collect fish. That's what we're doing with the push marketing, where the pull marketing is, where they're coming to us because they already know they have a problem. The difference is that the market size, the TAM, total addressable market, is much. We are getting a lot more traction from our outbound marketing than from any inbound marketing currently, right? And so, yeah, the difference when you push and pull marketing is with push marketing, as soon as you engage in a conversation, they're usually a lot more skeptical, right? They know that likely a pitch is coming. And so under normal kind of cold outreach processes, right? Like under kind of the normal method of process of selling or pitching marketing services, local marketing services through push marketing and cold outreach, it's spammy, right? Typically it's spammy, and they get hammered with those types of solicitations all the time. The business owners do, I mean. And because of that, it's very difficult to break through, which is why the DHA model and that whole outreach process is different, because it's a different angle. It's a way to approach them as not a marketing agency at all. We're not an SEO company, not a marketing agency. We are a directory that all we're looking to do is confirm your company's contact information for your listing on the directory. And so that's how we engage with them without them thinking a pitch is coming. Right? A pitch is eventually coming, there's no question, but we develop a relationship, consistent communication with them through the process of bringing them up to the listing delivery call, which is the start of the sales conversation. So we have a number of communication and touch points between the initial response to the cold email, where we're not approaching them as an agency or as a marketing agency or an SEO or anything like that, so they don't think that a pitch is coming. And then we further develop the communication, the rapport with them throughout the process of getting their listing published. And then once it's published, that's when we request the call to get on, which is the booked call, the booked appointment, which again, we call that the listing delivery call to them, but that is the start of the sales conversation. And that's when I reveal to them that we have the directory as a way to bring tree contractors into our agency. Like, I'm fully transparent with them about that on the call, because I've had tree contractors on calls ask me that before. Like, well, why are you doing this? Like, why would you do this for free? And then I tell them full transparency, because I run a tree service marketing agency, and this is how I generate leads for my agency. We go through this process. I see a lot of, and I tell them this, I see a lot of tree contractors that have terrible online presences, or they're using companies that are not doing them proper justice, right? They're not serving them properly. And so I have the directory as a way to help tree contractors gain more exposure with no cost. And then that also helps me, it brings new contacts into my agency where then there's potential for me to upsell or to provide additional marketing services, right? I try not to use words like upsell and things like that when I'm talking to a prospect. But if you understand, like, again, guys, I've talked about this many times on Hunt Hangouts. I'm transparent with my intentions. With, initially, yeah, it's a little bit of a bait and switch, but we do it in a way where I don't ever, no, I'm not going to say ever, but it's very rare that we ever get any sort of pushback from a contact because we do it in a very respectful manner in a way that's non-pushy, non-salesy. We don't ever even address or introduce any of our marketing services until after we've had a lot of communication with them and we've delivered something of value to them. And then we transition the conversation into a pitch, but it's done in a very respectful way. And so to answer your question, isn't it confusing? No, because of my approach, Tree Care HQ is the front end. It is the starting point. The agency is secondary. The agency is only introduced to them after we've already had communication with them, considerable communication with them, right? Now, I did have a Derek Pierce, which he's a really good guy. You guys, I'm sure, he's more in the affiliate marketing space and SEO and stuff, but he's been a colleague that I've known for many years in the SEO industry, and I respect him very much. Anyways, he had a training program for an automated AI podcast system. And I purchased it because it was on a recommendation from some other SEOs that I respect. And I purchased it for Semantic Mastery for one of our team members to go through and learn how to set up. And through the checkout funnel for Derek's automated podcasting training program, there was an opportunity to purchase a done for you podcast setup, and it was $2,500. And I said, fuck it. I don't want to wait. I know we're going to do this for Semantic Mastery and we'll have one of our team members build it, set it all up. But in the meantime, I want to see how it works. And I need it for Tree Service or Tree Care HQ. So Tree Service Marketing Podcast. So we actually just had, I'll just demonstrate it with you guys. It's still in development right now, but we're communicating earlier today. So there's no theme on this site, guys. This is a default WordPress theme or whatever. And this is the first automated podcast that was developed by this AI podcasting system that I hired Derek to build for me. And so it should be done within about the next week. We're just putting the final, and I'm supposed to put I hate WordPress, and apparently I'm supposed to be the one that installed the theme and make it look good. So I'm just going to hire somebody to do it. I can't stand working with WordPress anymore. And so I'm not going to spend any time making this look pretty. I'll get somebody else do it. But what I'm saying is you'll see I got podcast.treecarehq. I'm having a marketing blog set up as well. So that's going to be the content distribution engine for my agency, for my Tree Care HQ agency, right? So we're going to have two content distribution engines, the podcast.treecarehq.com and then one for marketing, which I believe I already created that. Marketing.treecarehq.com. That'll be the blog for written content, and then the podcast for audio content and maybe video content as well, if that makes sense. And then, because as I've talked about on Hump Day Hangouts recently, guys, we're working on developing a syndication application that uses AI to modify the content and create unique versions on the different platforms and different media formats, et cetera. And so when that's done, I'm going to be testing a lot with Tree Care HQ on the marketing side of things, meaning generating leads for my agency, right? So there will be, once I have these up and running, the podcast and the marketing blog, then those will be added as menu items to the directory, right? So then if a contractor searches for my brand, yes, they will land on the directory, but then they can click for marketing or, marketing podcast or marketing blog or whatever it is, however I title it, that will be up here, and they're all connected. You understand? But I'll be using the automated podcast and the automated content distribution system that we're building to get my content out as far and wide across the web in as many different formats and is on as many platforms as possible, because that's what we're going to be teaching, right? All right. So anyways, this is a good question. But to answer your question, James, do I think it's an issue? No, not at all, because of precisely the way that I approach selling services to tree contractors. It's not on the front end agency focused. It's on the back end after getting them a directory listing up and running. Okay. How do you explain that setup to people? I just did. I just explained it to you. And like I said, I explained it to tree contractors too. When they ask, well, how do you make money from this? What is the incentive for you doing this? And that's when I tell them, aren't we having a conversation right now? So I'm having a conversation with my ideal prospect, a tree service contractor or a tree service business owner. I offer marketing services and business development services for tree contractors. So in my opinion, this engagement is invaluable. Like just having this conversation is opening up the door for a future engagement for us to work together at a later time, whether that's today, next week, or next year. I don't care. It's just an open, now the door is open for this to occur, for this to happen. Does that make sense? And again, I found that being transparent with prospects instead of like always trying to, be sneaky about shit. They tend to respect that. At least in in the tree service industry, they're real direct. They're real direct. They'll tell you flat out if they don't like something that you said, or whatever, And so I found that just being direct with them, they tend to respect that, right? Anyway, moving on. Bobby says, how do you send high-level links without it looking scammy? Shorten them. Use a link shortener. Use a link shortener where you can add your own custom domain. I use Pretty Links Pro on tchq.link, for example, or smshort.link, for example. So like, I'll just show you tchq.link is a WordPress site that I created on that. So tchq for Tree Care HQ, right? .link. So God damn it, if I could just type tchq. I can't talk and type at the same time, guys. I never can. /WP-admin. There we go. All right. So I'll just show you very quickly. Oops, sorry. I use this, probably needs updated. Yeah. With Pretty Links installed so that we can create these short links, which I'm about to show you, which we do all the time because that's how we send our short links for map radius images and for local search grid report images that show to the contractor client that they have a very poor, their exposure in Google Map search is very poor, right? That's how we do it that's how we get them to book the listing delivery call, right? We go through the process of showing them like, hey, we've got your listing directory, or directory listing, excuse me, ready for review. We'd like to jump on a call with you to review it, to make sure it's accurate and that you're happy with it before we promote it. Book a call with me here. And then they're either going to book the call or they're going to reply back with, well, why do I need to book a call? Can't you just send it to me for review? And then we follow up with automated messages that said, well, we've during the process of optimizing your directory listing, or publishing your directory listing, we identified some issues that are preventing you from getting jobs in the areas that you claimed you want to get jobs from, or that you claim is your service area. So we'd like to address that with you on the call. Pick a time on my calendar here. And then they're either going to book the call or they're going to reply back with, well, which problems did you identify? And then that's when we go through this exact process where it says, well, this is where you said, and to get back to the question, we send this link via SMS in high level. So it's a short link. So we'll just go to where goes, and it's the short link that we're sending that then redirects to the image URL, because we don't want to send the long image URL that if it's hosted in high level, yeah, you're right, it's a super long spammy URL. But we actually upload the images to Tree Care HQ, but that's still a long URL for an SMS text message. So we shorten all of those, and that's the short link right there, right? tchq.link/whatever, and that redirects to that image, as you can see here. So what we do is we say, well, this is where you said you wanted to get jobs. This is where you're actually getting work from, right? And we say only the areas in green. And so that's when we say, we'd like to address this with you and show you how you can begin to resolve this and start getting jobs from a wider or broader area on the call. Pick a time on my calendar here, and we send them the link, right? And so that's what we do. Again, to answer your question, I use Pretty Links in a custom domain that I set up specifically for shortening links, just like we have one for SM for Semantic Mastery, smshort.link. So Semantic Mastery short links. That's what that's for. Which, by the way, if you go look at that, not the admin page, but I think the homepage still has I think it still has Sam Jackson on it. Do you remember this? I think it's funny. We had, yeah. So the homepage just has this nothing to see here. Keep scrolling, motherfucker. And I always thought that was funny. That was from God, what was that movie with Uma Thurman? Anyways, old movie. Anyway, it's funny because we've had people that we've sent a short link to before, and some woman replied back in her support like, I received this link and I clicked on it, and there was a picture of a black man cussing at me. Like, I'm not kidding. It was the funniest thing. It was a support ticket where she was like complaining about. I always thought that was really funny. So anyway, all right, moving on. That was a good question. How does it look? Send links without scamming. By the way, you don't need to use a WordPress plugin to do that. I mean, if you have, a lot of them are going to be paid services, but something like Sniply, things like that, there's a lot of those kind of services where you can pay a monthly fee and you can add your own custom domain, and they'll create redirects and QR codes and all kinds of stuff. So just pick something that you can use a custom domain where you can make it a lot shorter so that it doesn't look as spammy as it does, right? All right. So Ron says, how does Citation Vault compare with the more mainstream listing management like Yext, Local, et cetera? There's no comparison whatsoever. Citation Vault is nothing like those others. It should not be used anything like those others, in my opinion. Citation Vault is a PBN network that publishes pages that create geographic relevance to the GBP and the site or the campaign essentially. But it is a footprint type of a site. So look, I use Citation Vault, okay, but I don't recommend ever pointing it directly to the money site. Point it to an ID page or a buffer site, one or the other, right? An ID page, I think, is the perfect place to point Citation Vault links to, which is what we do for semantic links clients and all my SEO clients, et cetera. We create the ID page, then we set up Citation Vault to point the website URL to the ID page. So that we're building this. Why do we do that? Because it creates 300 links. Nowhere near those 300 are going to be indexed. It's not going to be anywhere close to 300 that are going to get indexed. It's going to be a tiny fraction of those 300 that get indexed. But what we do is we use the brand name as the anchor text to the website URL, which is on the Citation Vault domain. That's the only place that works. For all the other 299 sites within their network, it's going to be a URL anchor. Even though there's a box that says, do you want to use the brand name as the anchor, and you check it, it doesn't work. It never has. It's always been a URL anchor on all the other sites. But the reason why we do that is because then we're pillowing the ID page with a set of brand anchors. Supposed to be 300, but there's nowhere near ever 300 pages indexed. I've never seen that. Well, I'm not going to say never, but not in the last year or year and a half. Previous to that, used to be able to get all 300 indexed. Now they won't. But you could get 50 or 60 of them indexed. And what that does is it creates that base level or base layer, I should say, of branded or brand/URL anchors, which I consider all branded anchors. So that then we can go in behind that with topic and target anchors, which are keyword anchors, right? Topic anchor is a keyword only anchor. A target anchor is keyword plus location modifier. So that way we can go in much more aggressively with higher, like more powerful links to build links with keyword anchors to the ID page, because we already have a base layer of brand anchors that will skew or modify the anchor text ratio into mostly brand anchors, so that we can be a lot more aggressive with keyword anchors, if that makes sense, with the links that actually have, proper relevance and that aren't so spammy looking. Citation Vault links are kind of spammy. That's why I said, don't ever point them direct to the money site. Point to a buffer site. An ID page is perfect for this. Google Sites, a branded Web 2.0 blog, something like that would be fine. Okay, that's still connected to the brand. There's still a brand association, but it's not direct to the money site. For all the other things like you're talking Yext, Local, et cetera, those are business directory listings. Those should link directly back to the main website. Okay, so no comparison whatsoever. Citation Vault is spammy. It has its use. It has I use it. There is a purpose for using it. But I don't ever recommend pointing that directly to the money site. Yext, Local, those types of citations, those are business directory listings. It's fine to do so. Okay. All right, last question. James says, hi, Bradley, when you're sending cold emails to people to get people to verify their listings, how many follow-ups do you usually send? And do you add any urgency in your follow-up emails? No, but we do 5 emails at one sent every other day for 10 days. That's it. And I've been using that same sequence for over 2 years now. Or excuse me, for like 4 years now is what I meant to say. Right now, this one campaign's not performing as well. I don't know why either. It's interesting. But I'll just show you, like, here's this campaign performed incredibly well. If we look at the last 3 months, you'll see that we had 83% open rate out of we sent 617 contacts into the sequence. We had 83% open rate, and we had 32 opportunities out of that, which is like what, I think it's like an 8%. Yeah, that's 8%. That's an 8% response rate on cold email, guys. Think about that. 8% response rate on cold email. That's insane, right? In my opinion, that's nuts. And you can see here's the 5 emails. Step 1 through 5. They're sent every other day. Again, if we go up here and we take a look at the sequence, you'll see. Step 1, send next message 2 days later. Step 2, 2 days later. Step 3, 2 days later. So it's 5 emails, right? With spin tax included, and they go out one every other day for 10 days. And I've been doing that same sequence for close to 4 years. I didn't start using Instantly till about 1.5 years ago. This campaign's running. It's got a lower response rate, and it's still about 5% response rate, not quite as so. This got a lower open rate, and a little bit of a lower response rate too. It was also a smaller list. And I'm also thinking that I don't know, it might just be the states that I picked, the Florida and Missouri. I know it's kind of an odd combination. I'm not even sure why I did that, but this is a much smaller list. There's only 147 contacts gone. This one's currently active now, but it's significantly lower open rate. And that's a little bit odd because typically my open rates for these campaigns are somewhere between 65 and 85%. Typically. So this one's a little bit lower than normal. And I'm not sure why. Again, it could just be the areas that we're targeting. But to answer your question, it's every other day for 5 days. That can be, you can obviously modify that. You can add more. I wouldn't take any away from that. I wouldn't make it any less. But very quickly, if we go back, God damn it, I can't stand these stupid notifications. Every site does that now, and it drives me nuts. Zoom is the worst. If anybody logs into Zoom, you guys know what I'm talking about. Every time you log into Zoom, there's multiple notification banners that are always pitching stuff. It just drives me nuts. You got to close them all down. But anyways, what I was going to say was these campaigns tend to, perform quite well. Let's go back to this other one here. If you look at these stats here, this is what I was saying. Like if you look at the open rates, it's, we see consistent open rates across pretty much all of those touch points. You see, it does decline a little bit further down, but what's interesting is you see that, we're still getting a very high open rate, even 5 emails later. So, I've not taken the time to test adding additional emails into the sequence. I know some of the other DHA program members have, though. And like, I think one of our members had 7 emails in the sequence, and they said that, yeah, even email 6 and 7, they're still getting a high response rate or high open rate and, comparable response rate. I mean, look, 2.1% is the highest response rate and the lowest is 1%. And that seems to be about consistent across all those 5 touch points. So anyway, hopefully that's clear. I think that was it on questions. I don't think we had any in chat, so I think we're good for the day. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was just looking right now. Nope, we're good to go, man. That's it.
Okay. Well, then let's wrap it up today. Appreciate everybody. We have a mastermind webinar, or excuse me, a Build with Bradley meeting tomorrow, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, Build with Bradley meeting tomorrow. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Those of you that are in the mastermind, if you're not, hey, come check